Hey everyone, welcome to Open. I'm Rhina Valentin, your hosting Café con Leche for the next hour. Always inviting you to get social with us, especially during these trying times. Tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BroxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BroxNet Television. And of course, you can follow me on all those platforms: Twitter, Instagram, Insta Stories, LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So, amid a global pandemic, the death of George Floyd has many people across the nation and the world, for that matter, coming together to protest the injustice of police brutality, as well as the racism that continues to divide this country, and making it apparent that policy reforms are needed now more than ever. All while religious leaders continue praying for healing, as many people are distraught during this time of dealing with community disparities. And joining us to tell us more, we welcome representing the 14th District of the Bronx, Councilman and Pastor Fernando Cabrera. Hello.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well,
What an honor to be on your show.
oh well, thank you for making the time. I know you've been very busy trying to transform lives.
It has been quite busy, as you stated. The pandemic brought us an unprecedented crisis here in our district, in the Bronx, and throughout the city. And at the same time, we're seeing the incident that happened with George Floyd, and it has literally sent a shockwave into our society. People were cooped up for so long. Now they're coming out, and with a sense of anger, need for justice, hurt, pain, and couple that with pressures. It's a lot for people to bear. It's a whole lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot. And, I know that you do a lot of work with the juvenile injustice facilities, and I know you focus a lot on the youth. And this is being led predominantly by youth. And so, um, what kind of words would you like to share with them? Because, yes, while there is a means of being angry or justified anger, it's the way that these protests are occurring that really becomes questionable.
Yeah, so what I would say is the family of George Floyd, who I had the honor to visit and to attend the funeral yesterday. The family have asked. There's a request from the family for any form of violence, rioting, vandalism, looting to stop, because it takes away really from the cause. It takes away from the focus. It takes away from people wanting to participate. I know people have told me, listen, I want to be there. I want to say presente. I want to say present. I want to say that I was there, but I'm afraid I'm going to get hurt. I'm afraid that I'm going to get involved or swept up in some form of arrest because somebody else was doing something, or somebody threw a brick and they're going to say it was me. It's literally taken away from the voice of justice.
So
And there's, yes.
no. Yeah, I hear you, and you're right. And one of the reasons we really wanted to have you on is because not only are you a pastor and understanding, the humanity that is really being challenged right now. You're also a councilman who deals with legislation and reform. And so, like, what should people really be focusing on here?
So, I'm so glad that you asked. There's a package of bills, which I hope one of them, which I'm calling upon the state of New York. We have a resolution to make chalk holes done by police to become a felony, level one violent felony. There has to be some teeth to someone doing something that already is not on the books in the manual of training for the NYPD. We have a series of packages that are going to strengthen people's trust. It's going to help the NYPD, to tell you the truth, at the end of the day, because they don't have to resort to this draconic tactics that has cost life. You know, in my own district, I think people have forgotten Anthony Baez in 1994, a Latino who literally was choked to death. You know, he couldn't breathe. Also, the cry since then, since 1994, is "I can't breathe." And we can't breathe emotionally, even spiritually. There's something that that is really taking the life of our community. And so I think that we are moving forward. We're not just talking about it, we're going to be about it. We're going to
Right.
be doing things that are going to make a difference.
Right. And and it's interesting that you would say that, right? Because the phrase "I can't breathe," it serves on so many levels. Metaphorically, literally, physically. I mean, this just seems to be the theme of this particular time period, because what's being challenged through this pandemic? Our breath.
Indeed. And let me tell you, if I could be symbolic about it, let me tell you what I think is at the heart of this. It's the power of shame. Is to say it when you treat it that way, when you have, when you treat it differently than our white counterparts, is the stamp you with a label that says there's something wrong with you. It's not that you did something wrong as much as there's something wrong with you. Therefore, we're going to treat you different, and we can no longer afford for our children, the black and brown children, Asian children, to raise up with social complex. I went through it myself. I went through it in my high school days. It took me years to recuperate and find my identity because somebody labeled me. I got called names and treated differently. The police stopped me numerous times for no reason whatsoever. Stopping a pastor. I mean, can you imagine?
Yes,
And
because
they lie about why it was so. And so the time for change is now.
I think you're in a wonderful position to be a voice, because I don't know if most people even know that you were also the former program director for mental health and counseling at Mercy College. And I think one of the things, this is my personal opinion on this matter, is that I just wonder if the psyche of these officers are really being tested accordingly.
So, that's very interesting. I think one of the things that we got to look at is the battery of tests that potential officers, candidates are taking. We need to review that. The second thing is to establish a different culture. Let me tell you what happens. I think part of the problem is with all of these officers, and look, the vast majority of officers do the right thing, but the ones that are doing these evil murders, those who are literally costing the lives of people who should not be dead today, whose moms have cried day in, day out. I think at the end of the day, it's all about control. You see, when somebody feels superior over somebody else, they want to control. This is a form of control. When you see George Floyd in the floor with the knee in his neck, that was not about what he did at that moment or what he was accused, by the way,
Right.
of what he did. Because
which was minor.
Yes, indeed, very minor. For $20, somebody's going to die. I mean, you got to be kidding. And how do we know that he even know? I could have a kind for $20 that I don't even know, right? So I bought
for counterfeit $20.
Yes,
alleged counterfeit $20.
Exactly. And so but to have that knee in the neck, I mean, literally, is saying I'm taking control over you. You see, that's the psychic that is at work. Is very sick psychic, and the NYPD and all of the PDs across the nation need to be vigilant to see who has that type of mentality and behavior. Look, let me just mention one more thing. Every single one of those police officers that have done this, they all have a track record. We got to look at the pattern. The pattern is the problem, and we got to nip it early on.
Right. And so here's to really enforcing humanity, right? And being humanitarians, because If you're saying that they have a pattern, then these type of individuals really shouldn't be holding a badge, because for some reason it seems to be justified in their actions. Rather, it's justifying their actions, which is why they keep repeating this type of behavior.
Indeed, I think what we're missing in society at every level, I'm telling you, is a culture of honor. We have forgotten how to honor one another, how to honor parents, how to honor the public when you're serving them. We have lost that power of honor. And honor is when you value somebody. And to get a bit spiritual here, if you don't value the image of God in someone, then you don't value God. It's contradicting. You can't say you love God and you hate your neighbor. It just goes against the very nature of your religious fabric and value in your heart.
For more on how to be a contribution to your neighborhood, you can follow Councilman Fernando Cabrera on Twitter at FCabreraNY for updates on District 14. We do have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll discuss more about the nationwide protests. So don't go anywhere.